Aloha everyone and welcome back to Isle Blessings. Hi, hello there. So we're going to be just getting right into it. No need to explain too much. We're going to be looking at decisions. Now, this is actually was originally going to be one video, but as I was pre-pulling for particular stones, I got tired extremely fast. So it's actually going to be one of two parts. So what we're going to be doing today is 6 different stones to choose from. The other 6, because yes, it was supposed to be 12. I was way over my head. The other 6 right over here, they're going to just be hanging out with us today, and they're going to be seen in the next video. So if you're looking at these stones and you're like, I don't think there is anything here for me, that is completely fine. I will see you actually in the next video for these other stones right over here. I'm not going to pick them up because they've been just rolling everywhere. All these spheres, they're almost the perfect sphere, but they're also the littlest perfect mischievous little bastards that just get away from me. And I've had the most wonderful time trying to wrangle them up and not have them roll off the table. So we're going to be looking at, again, decisions. So if you have a decision that you need to make and you don't know which direction to go, whether to do it, whether to not do it, this is going to be the reading for you. So we're going to be starting off with pile 1. Pile 1 is going to be right over here, and we're going to be going in a clockwise motion. This, I believe, is a lithium, oh my, see what I mean? Is a lithium quartz sphere. Pile 2 is going to be this dragon blood stone sphere. And if you hear meowing, it's because my little Missy is in here. And I have the door open because it is hot, it is sticky, it is still, and there was a thunderstorm earlier today, which is great considering that, whenever we have celestial events, today in particular was supposed to be the Leonid meteor shower, and can't see crap. So anyway, pile 3 is going to be this pink stone, this pink crystal sphere. I really don't know what it is. I feel like it is man-made. I just really do not remember. But just because it is man-made doesn't mean that it doesn't have power. So don't worry, Pat. If you're leaning more towards the stone, don't worry too much. It's just it has a message for you. Over here we have a green Aventurine for pile 4. And then for pile 5, we have this turquoise sphere, this blue turquoise sphere. And for pile 6, we have this sparkly gold stone. And it is quite easy to get lost in this because, we all deserve sparkle in our lives. And we all deserve a little bit of gold. Anyway, I'm going to leave this right over here, and I will see you in your readings. If you need to, take a moment to pause the video, meditate a little bit, either go with your first reaction or your second reaction. Don't overthink it too much. If it really doesn't resonate with you, there is no problem whatsoever. You're more than welcome to click on any of the other stones to see if there's anything else for you. Other than that, I will see you in your readings. Thank you. Aloha pile 1. Hello. Hi. Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to just put this right over here and pray that it doesn't run off. And then we're just going to tuck these away so these little jerks doesn't run off on me either, where I can't find them. So what we're going to be looking at is, of course, decisions. So we're going to be looking at first your current state. I have pre-pulled your pile, which is actually why I'm only doing 6 today. Because I found out that as I was pre-pulling these cards, I got tired extremely fast. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time making just a really long video because this is supposed to be pretty short, pretty sweet. Okay, guys, that's what decisions are supposed to be. So we'll have a look see. So you and your current state right now is I am truth. Now there's a heavy amount of contemplative energy right over here. Maybe a little bit of hopelessness, maybe some tattering, like maybe you have overcome or are going through a lot of turmoil right now. As you can see that there's a little bit. So we have this woman who's up on this cliffside, off in isolation, kind of on a high point. There's these clouds brewing right over here, and her hair is kind of wild and free, but her dress is also torn. So she seems to have climbed up really high, went through quite a lot in the recent days, if not on this particular journey. And now she's at the sitting point right now and just looking over everything, or just being on that edge, almost there to make that decision. So this is the current state. We're just going to scoot that right. Okay. So we're going to get a clarify card from the Syrian Starseed. We have transition. Okay, so transition in the traditional tarot, this translates to the death card. Now, the death card is not a bad omen. We'll admit that, death. This is basically saying that you're transitioning to the next chapter, but it is very sudden. It is out of the blue at some point, or it's just a very massive and can be traumatic event. Not always. For death, words. For death in particular, it just comes suddenly, but we all know it's coming. You cannot have life without death, and death is the partner of life. We hold the hand of life, and we also hold the hand of death. But for this one in particular, with this right over here, this is a major decision for you right here, and it almost can feel like a rather life or death situation. Transition can also be the closing of a chapter, but because this is here, and because this is here, and as I've described before, this is a very major event in your life, whether you're transitioning into a new place or new people, maybe the ending of something, or you are transcending something. But this definitely has the power of the Tower card as well, just amplified. And there really won't be any going back, which is why this is a very heavy card right here, right now, representing you, because there will be no going back. There will be no do-overs, no reset button, and that's my gamer personality just kicking in right here. Okay, so we're going to be looking at what is driving this decision. Ooh, I'm feeling a lot of sadness. Anxiety is not exactly a particular emotion. It's a culmination of many emotions, and it can be swinging from a lot of intensities, from anger to upset to sadness to tears to unstableness. It's just multiple layers. We have right over here, we have a storm outside, and we have another storm over here. We got a storm outside, we have a lightning bolt, we also have a little patches of sky out there, but it's very dark. And then in the inner layer, we have the castle walls with a lot of paint, a lot of wearing away, and a lot of open windows. And then in the inner part, we have another layer of this veil. And I'm definitely being pulled to seeing red. So there is definitely a heavy amount of affection involved, of love, of passion even. I feel like that this is more so about a particular person. It could be about a career change. I mean, let's just be honest. In the times that we're living in right now, um, you know, people are quitting or people are desperate as finding jobs. It is it's just everywhere, and that's just the state that we're in at the moment. But I feel like that this is more so about a certain person or maybe even family. And then in the inner, near the heart, of all these multiple layers, of all these multiple anxieties, is a woman, of course, who looks helpless. She's holding her hair, and she's crying, and her makeup is running, and she's just sitting in this beautiful dress. But none of that matters right now. There's just a sense of the end, and just being all in all wrapped up. And even this even kind of feels like a prison, that there is only one way out, that there is no going back. That's what this is represented right over here. So what should you do? I mean, not what you should do. Obviously, you're not here because you're not really looking for that answer. You're looking for whether or not you should do this. So, should you do this? We have the Silver Siren, and this is from the Divine Circus Oracle deck. So the Silver Siren, she comes to you and she says that as alluring as it is to stay in your comfort zone, it no longer serves you. It no longer serves your purpose. It's going to be painful. It is very tempting to just stay where you are, but at the same time, it it will be the end of you. I mean, one way or another, whether or not you make a decision, life is going to do it for you. At this point, life is giving you that free will. Life is wanting you to make that decision. So she is saying that as much as you don't want to make that decision, choose that third door, so to speak. In this particular situation, there is no third door, I'm sorry to say. And the Silver Siren, she is saying that you need to work through this. You need to trust. You need to have faith. It's going to be very hard. It's going to be traumatic even. But listen to your own siren. Listen to your not the alarm kind of siren. Listen to the song of yourself. Listen to the inner voice of yourself, and you can be in this state for now because it doesn't seem like this is going to happen just yet, but it's coming soon. It will, there's actually no timeline that I can give you. I mean, it's just like death. There is no timeline for death. Everybody has their own clock, but nobody knows how much time we have left. It is the same thing for the situation. But at least for now, I can generally say as of this video, you still have some time to think about it before this ultimately comes. And that is what she is representing in the here and now, is that listen to your song or create your own lyrics, and just work through it right now. So the downside of making this decision, honestly, I would recommend. No, I'm not going to recommend it. I would be essentially violating this particular reading. But anyway, we have the Queen of Grails. Let me just bring it closer. So the Queen of Grails is in place of the Queen of Cups, and this is from the Tarot of the Vampires deck. So she is in place of the Queen of Cups, and as we know with Queens of Cups, is that yes, there's emotion going on. Yes, there's almost that endless goblet of water. So a lot of emotion, a lot of receptivity, a lot of dreams, even maybe even sensual. I mean, she deals with the moon, with the feminine. It's kind of like that peak femininity. But in the reverse position, let me give you on the right side up so you can have a look see. So you see how she's on her throne, she's confident, she's sensual, she's she's sexual, but she has power. She is in her own power. She makes the rules, and she doesn't let no man can take her, no man can touch her. She has reached this position, and what she says is law. So she is full and well within her power, and we have the snake symbolized right over here, which is the sensualization, the wisdom, a great amount of wisdom, because you cannot be a queen if you do not have a lot of wisdom and a lot of teaching for you, as well as a certain position and a massive amount of power. But because she is in the reverse position, there is going to be that near bottomless chalice just being emptied out. The higher that you go in the ranking of royalty, of course, the bigger, the heavier the burden, and the widened the breadth of, just everything around you and yourself. And that is the heavy amount that is going to be dumped. So there's going to be a massive amount, of emotions. It's going to be depressing. You might slip into that depression if you haven't already. It's just going to be cutting you very, very deeply. It's going to cut into through your mentality. It's going to pierce your heart, and it's almost like it's going to suck down your soul into the abyss and never to return. That's what it's going to feel like. It's going to be a very, very traumatic experience. But like I said, the Silver Siren is here to say that, it's going to happen. Life is here to say it's going to happen, and it has to happen. You cannot remain in this anymore. There's way too much. There's way too much hurt. There's way too much. It could turn into even resentment. No, and you should not be in resentment. However, we're going to see what the moon says. The moon says, you and your loved ones are safe. New moon in Cancer. Now, as a fellow Cancer, it's not that we're crybabies, that whole stereotypical thing. We just carry a massive amount of burden. I mean, we carry the world on our shoulders, and it gets very overwhelming very, very quickly. And especially, the further on that we get into our lives. I mean, we might become listless every once in a while, but we still feel things very, very deeply, as deep and unknown as the oceans and its trenches. And it's not so much as that we have mood swings powered by the moon. It's just, every once in a while, it's just like anybody, it's just too much, and you're just bottling it up. And with this one right over here, I'm not saying that you're a Cancer, but you will be taking on what it means to be a Cancer. That heaviness, that it's going to be tough. I'll just put it in simple terms. It's going to be very tough, and it might span for a very, very long time, and it could carry you for the rest of your lives. Underneath that hard shell of the crab, there is a very soft and vulnerable underbelly. Once the crab is on its back, it's very hard to flip over, and that's what this is saying right over here. But I want to point to you again, and let me read this to you again. You and your loved ones are safe. In the end, you have a lot of blessings for you, a lot of support that will be coming on all sides. As much as it will feel embarrassing to be in such a vulnerable position, you will be safe. You will be blessed, and it will come from a lot of people who really and truly care about you, who really do understand, and who will not take your tears. I want to point that. I want to stress that is that the ones who really and truly love and care for you will not give a damn if you are a babbling, bumbling, crying, sobbing moron. They really will not care. The ones who do have are judgy towards you when you are in this ultra sensitive, ultra vulnerable state that it feels like that you're going to die, are not the people who actually love you. They're not the ones who should serve you further down in the path of your life. You will be safe, as well as your loved ones, the ones who truly are the ones who care the most about you. I'm going to actually put this right here in the middle. Okay, and I thought this was this is a heck of a reading to start off with for the next several piles. But let me give you one more shot of this quartz. And honestly, I think this is kind of appropriate that this lithium quartz is right here. So lithium quartz, they absorb uh, a lot of negative energy. Maybe look up the meanings for lithium. I'm not saying that you're crazy. A lot of lithium is used in quite a few medicines when it comes to dealing with a lot of mental stress, uh, just mental breakdowns. So this is actually quite appropriate. I'm not saying that you're crazy, and I'm not saying go run to the nearest therapist and be like, drug me up. Because even if you were to indulge in such things, it's going to happen. There's nothing that's going to help lessen this load except possibly making this decision faster before life takes hold. Whew, let's just breathe in for a moment and out. Know that you are blessed, and know that you will know the truth for those who actually will truly come through for you. They will help you, and I would recommend that you please, as embarrassing and as belittling and hopeless that you might feel when you are in this state, because I think for this one in particular, this might be excuse me, the one that might break you. Please accept it. But again, I value free will. If you end up not accepting it, that is completely up to you. But for my concern, I do recommend that you ease into it. But whew, I hope you take care. And when this does happen, just hold on tight, and it will be okay. Anyways, I'm going to leave this right over here, and I will see you in your next reading. Take care. Aloha Pile 2, hello, thank you for coming. You have chosen, yeah, that backwards. You have chosen this Blood Dragon Sphere Stone. Little tiny cute thing. I'm going to put this right over here and very carefully take this away before I lose my place. And okay, so we're going to be looking at, like I said, decisions. We're going to be looking at what is your current state, you and your current state as of right now. Excuse me. I've took the liberty of pre-pulling everything, hence is why we're not doing 12 choices here in this video, is because I just got extremely tired after pulling like freaking 5 of these. So we'll just get right into it. Enough of my complaining. We have rose petals. Rose petals. I'm already predicting a lot of self-care. There's a lot of health going on. There's plenty of greenery, a lot of freshness even. I'm also detecting fashion and just rediscovering oneself and one's inner beauty. As we can see, she is being surrounded by a gust of wind with roses and petals everywhere. And yet she is here. She is posing. She is like not really even a queen or a princess, just just owning it like a supermodel even. So there's a lot of beauty within as well as out. There's a heavy amount of doing a lot of beauty regimens, at least for the outside of the skin, taking care of your luscious hair or styling it into something that you absolutely love. Love, love, love this card. Love this energy. Share your secrets. I'm just kidding. So, um, there's just a lot of changes actually happening right now with this particular card. I'm detecting a lot of spring, and there's quite a few changes in your life, definitely for the better. Maybe even food, health, exercising a lot more, or enriching yourself. If you're not into that, maybe indulging in some new projects. I was going to say products, but products can also work too. Indulging into a new product or projects even. This is something that's absolutely fun for you to do. I mean, it's like rekindling a passion or a passion that you never knew that you had before. Whether it's reading, maybe it's even writing or artistry, all that. And then you are considering the absolute possibilities. Woohoo! We have karma. We have karma right over here. I'm gonna be dumb again. If you have been with me, I see this many times. If you have been with me in these videos when I use these Syrian Star Seed decks, I'm an absolute mess trying to figure out what is what in regards to the traditional tarot, and I'm going to be extra dumb. So one moment. Let me pause this for a moment. Like I said, I'm an absolute dumbass. So karma takes the place of the judgment card. Please excuse me, or don't. Either way, I'm going to just keep trucking, whether or not you judge me or don't judge me. So anyway, we have. I'm just all of a sudden sassy. I'm just sassy and spicy. So we have karma. We have judgment. But if for this particular card, everything is coming into full circle. With karma, we all say karma is coming for you, but we're going to step in a little bit further than that. So we have this absolute crystal clear water, and we have this lotus flower that it's sort of an ascension into the higher realms, but it is also giving out that drop of water. So it has a lot to do with not so much as past lives. It could be also part of past lives, but it is something that has been handed down and building up over time, whether it's good or bad. Everything comes around in full circle. What comes up must come down. For this particular one, there's a lot of guidance that is being bestowed from above that has been a long time coming or has been trickling in. And take note that this is a major arcana, which also nourishes this card right over here. So you probably have felt reborn with whatever this decision that you are facing right now. It is something that you probably have not seen physically in this particular lifetime coming, but when it has come, you're like, oh my God. It's just this huge affinity that just all of a sudden comes onto the scene, or a huge supernova or a star bursting even. That is what I'm getting from these cards. So what is driving this decision that you would like to make? Ooh. Look at that finery. Look at that cat. If you're not into cats, it doesn't matter. We still have luxury being spoken about when we think of cats. They see their luxurious fur. They take massive amount of care for themselves and making themselves look good. The way that they walk, it's a supermodel's walk. their tail up in the air. If you have ever seen Norwegian forest cat, a Persian cat, or just a very ultra fluffy cat, you know that they take time, they take pride in what they look like, and as well as their owners. And as we can see with this owner right over here, so a woman holding a coin, there's a lot of, it's not so much as finances, but there's definitely a lot of fancy. It's not bougie. It's definitely not bougie. It's a lot more than that. So bougie usually, if I'm still new to that word, to be honest, because we don't say bougie over here in Hawaii. Okay, we don't say none of that. What we have over here is a high society lady, a duchess, definitely a duchess, not a countess. This duchess is definitely a huge step up from the countess. Let's just put that into perspective right now. Not a marquise, not a countess, none of that. On equal par as a duke, and one of the top ranks, one of the most influential and affluential people of society, and they also come with that pedigree blood. They know how to use their nobility, but they are not arrogant about it. That's what this card is saying. They know inside and out they are nobility, and they carry themselves as nobility. They don't trample on other people, but they know that, but they won't hesitate to put people in their proper places and also observe proper etiquette. That's what this card is saying right over here, and that's probably what, and again, it's what's driving this card right over here, driving you. And then it is something that has been coming along. And again, and speaking about blood, or it doesn't have to be like you're a descendant of a princess or something. No, that's not exactly what I'm talking about. That's very superficial. uh it's just something that you just feel deep within your soul, like it just has been awakened. This transcends blood. This transcends something that is physical. It is something that you feel from within, and then it radiates outwards, and then you take care about that outwards to reflect what it is that you feel here on the inside. So should you do this, should you make this decision, we have the Pixie Piro. So we see this beach in the background, and we see this very young Piro, or I mean, if you want to call it a clown, I suppose, but Piro, I honestly think is on a different level, and at least I can handle that better than clowns itself. So the Piro, this pixie. Now, pixie, usually you think of like pixie fairies. I want to stress that that is different, but that's for a different conversation. So pixies, they're very, they're not small, they're not cute. They are small and compact, but pixies come with a lot of fire. They come with a lot of sass. They come with a lot of spice because they know who they are and what they are. They don't actually have to put up a whole lot of front, which is pulling back to this card right over here. Um, this, should you make this decision, you will be a young, new, fresh face onto the scene, whether it's in your family or maybe a workplace or social media for that matter. Maybe you're thinking about becoming an influencer, something like that. There is definitely a lot of power also behind this Pixie Piro, and that there's confidence here, and at a glance people can see it. They might not understand your face right here in the now, but it is just because you are just getting started. It's like, so the Piro is just saying that, just watch me, bitch. Excuse my language, but that is definitely what I'm feeling right here and now. It's like you can feed off of that, by the way. If people are judging you, it is something that will give you convictions that will help make you persevere. So what is the downside? We have to consider that too. I mean, as fabulous as this is, we do need to consider what are the possible downsides. And it is quite funny. So we have Judgment card right over here. but we have justice right over here in the reverse position. So this is not an injustice. It's not like you're not going to be fair. That's not what this card is saying. This is more so of an external factor. You're going to be getting a lot of hate. You're going to be getting a lot of unfairness. You're going to be getting a lot of cattiness, because if this is sort of a social media presence, there's a heavy amount of competition out there. There's going to be a lot of tea. There's going to be a lot of shade. There's going to be a lot of burning going on, and there's going to be a crap load of rumors. There will be a massive amount of imbalance. But I do want to let me just flip it this way. As you can see, we have here the Libra right here with this Ace of Swords or this Ace of Knives. And of course, being a major arcana, it's a massive amount of intensity and power. And, we see this female vampire, she embodies that power. She exudes that power. She may not have a whole lot of refinery, but man, does she make it work that you notice her. We also have the scales here in the background, and we have a lot of finality. If someone crosses you, that's it. Gone. Out of your life, cut, not even print, throw it in the trash, and then throw that trash out. With the reverse happening right up here, there might be a lot of culling going on within your circle, or maybe a career change. Like maybe putting in your 2 weeks notice or leaving immediately. This is what's saying right over here. So we're going to be looking at finally we're going to be looking at, what does the moon say? And the moon says, it is time to take action, new moon in Aries. And I want to point out the fact that, it's quite appropriate that we have Aries represented right over here, as well as the new moon. So the new moon is the possibilities, that very first endeavor, that big, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to put that manifestation out there. I'm ready to put out there, and I'm going to make things happen. The new moon, I would recommend, if you are pursuing something like this, or a particular project that, that just burns, invoke that new moon power. I will offer that suggestion here and now, but the moon is saying to definitely take action. The Aries is the ram. It is one of the first zodiac signs. Yes, they're headstrong, and they may be narrow, and they may be stubborn, or they might seem like they don't think too much. They just do it. But I definitely also recommend invoking that Aries powers as well. You cannot stop that ram once the ram has decided to charge. So I definitely recommend new moon energy and Aries energy. If not, have a lot of fire. Keep that spice going on. And which is also highly appropriate, by the way, that you have the blood dragon stone. I was going to say moonstone. Blood dragon bloodstone. I am just a full jumbled words today. The dragon bloodstone is much more intense than the dragon stone. If you have seen that before, or the bloodstone. So it is the combination power of the dragon as well as the fire and life that is the blood that runs through everyone's veins. It is a massive amount of heavy manifestation stone. And, I have caution, if you are wanting to get something like this, I caution you, because it's not a wishing stone. It's going to bring the horde. You know how dragons are usually in the keeps with a lot of horde, or if you've watched, The Hobbit, Smaug, seeking out that treasure from the under the mountains. That's the tenacity that is represented here in the dragon bloodstone. That is the amount of riches that is also represented in this bloodstone. Smaug made it happen, and he has dominated that mountain for years and has displaced many. So not for the faint of heart. Definitely not for the faint of heart. If you're not confident in something like this, definitely just work with the new moon and Aries energy, and that will definitely be a lot going for you. All right, I'm going to leave this right over here, and I will see you in your next reading. Take care. Aloha Pile 3. Hi, hello, and welcome to your reading. Wow, that is a massive amount of energy all of a sudden that I have felt, and this reading should definitely be a doozy. I mean, not to mention that the first two piles have literally taken my breath away from one extreme to the next. Okay, so we're going to be looking at your decision, which is this kind of pinkish reddish stone that kind of reminds me of Saturn, like if Saturn was pink. If Saturn was pink. Okay, so we're going to be seeing what you and your current state looks like. I took the opportunity to pre-pull your cards, which is also why I'm doing this in part 1 and part 2 with the other 6 stones. It's because I got really tired after pulling all these. So enough about me. We have Jade Mountain. Okay, so getting a lot of not so much as fashion. There's definitely a quite a bit of feminine beauty and feminine power right here. Not princess, that is definitely for sure, but um a, a sovereign or a ruler or a high chief of a village or of a group, even maybe a manager's position, assistant manager, just somebody with authority. But there's also a heavy amount of nature as well. We have a lot of water and there's a lot of greenery, but she is also displaying this really vivid green dress and definitely harvesting um, and making all the resources work for them that is all around them. So we have this woman who is on top of a mountain, in the midst of almost fantasy like, but definitely real. I'm There's a lot of enigma that surrounds this card, but there's definitely there's finery as well. We'll definitely get into the other cards. Maybe I might get a better idea. It's just a little tough to read, not because I can't read it. There's just a huge air of mystery, but definitely looking at the possibilities because she's in a high place. She's in a high position. If it's not her position, she's overlooking, this valley that lays before her, and maybe even plans for the future, what it could possibly be, and envisioning. Oh, there we go. That's the word I was looking for. A massive amount of envisioning. The envisioner, but also will get things done. Oh my. Okay, speaking of envisioning, your clarifying card is the Lover's card. Okay, so excuse me. So I would like to point out for the fact that Lover's card is, as much as a lot of people like to think of the Lover's card, automatically romance. I mean, I get that sometimes too, but Lover's card actually in its most purest and basic form is just a merge or a fusion of two different beings, different ideas, and just marrying them together. It's just a sharing, a sharing of information, a sharing of being, a sharing of emotions, and on its purest and unadulterated level. Usually, the Lover's card, if there is any romantic connotations, excuse me, it would be revealed in the other cards. We'll see what happens. I mean, there could be romantic connotations or tagging along with this particular card. We'll see what happens. She is over thinking about the possibilities. So there's also a lot of partnership that is represented here in this card, or coupling for that matter. So it is just a meeting and back and forth between two or more. This could represent a group as well, that they're all on the same level and on roughly on the same pages, and they're making creation. So they're stemming from like this, the sun, from this one idea, and it is in this beautiful galactic burst of rainbow, of light and darkness and possibilities. Things happen. It's a very fertile card, as well as this one over here, since there's a lot of green. So what is driving this decision? I still need clarification. We have the world. So we have here someone who is robed, not really in isolation, just definitely looking at things from a objective point of view, not subjective. They have removed complications that comes with the emotional side of being human, and they put that in a box and away. They are looking at the world and what it is, observing it, what it could be, what it has been, what has worked, what has not worked. So in the world right over here, there's plenty of places to be. There's plenty of places that have not been touched. There have been places that have been touched. How do you improve on that? It's just, and that's what this person is being represented right over here. How do you improve? What can you do with the world? What can the world also do for you? This is not a matter of what you can do for the world. This person can also observe, what can the world offer you? That is what this is also saying right over here. There's just a lot of what can. What can. Not a whole lot of whys, just a lot of what can. It's a very go-getter card. It's more of an earthen vibe I'm definitely getting, and definitely over here too. So it's definitely more on the materialistic plane, and of course having things happen. This is what is driving the decision. So should you do this? Is one of the big questions. Ooh, we have guest of honor. So I will actually point out the fact that the master number 22 has appeared, and I wasn't planning on doing numerology for this quick reading, but I have to point it out because 22 will not be denied. So 22 is the second master number after the master number 11. We have 2 amplified exponentially, mind you. So the 2 is balance. It is the mediator. It is that bridge. They are the balance and they can also stand alone because they are balanced within themselves. And with the second 2, for it to become a 22, it is a massive amount of I had it. Not mediator. I have the word. Negotiator is not the word. Oh my gosh. I just had the word and it just went and it's gone. Anyway, the amount of not politician. That's also not it either. Not even remotely close. We'll just stick with negotiator. So, guest of honor. Putting the numerology aside, guest of honor, we have this woman who is dressed in a very fancy outfit. There's a lot of feathers, there's a lot of gold, and then there's also more feathers over here, and it kind of is shaped like a crown. There's also a moon imagery in the background, and she has makeup, she has gloves, she is holding this goblet, and she's drinking this wine, and she has a mask on. So this is a masquerade setting. It is definitely speaking about these cards right over here, and especially the Lover's card. So it is a group setting. It is a party. Everybody is wearing masks. It is just a matter of finding out who is who, what they are, and who is the deceivers. And it takes a lot of negotiating. It takes a lot of... It just really bothers me that I don't freaking remember the word that just went. Sorry. Anyway, so we have this woman who is observing this room, taking her time, being herself, and, kind of standing away from the crowd, or at least evaluating. She's evaluating and gauging everyone's worth, what the room is, what they should do next. And that is, but there's plenty and plenty of opportunity, as we are seeing right over here with the Lover's card. There is plenty of people to talk to. There are plenty of connections to be made, and you are just gauging who is what and who you should go up to first, second, third, and whatnot. Let's put this here. Stay. Now, what are the downsides? What are the disadvantages? So we have the Ten of Scepters in reverse. Let me just flip this over here so you can see it right side up. So Ten of Scepters is in the traditional tarot Ten of Wands. And as we can usually tell with a lot of Ten of Wands, it is a very burdensome card. It is heavy. Right here we have a vampire woman who is wielding that Ace of Scepters and is imprisoned in a lot of vines, or she's trapped amongst a lot of vines. She is scratched up. She has been through a lot, and she is trying to fight her way out. But she is also not losing her head. She is keeping her cool. She is confident, and she is wielding that scepter, that idea, with fiery power and conviction, and adding more power in order to break free of this prison. And I find it interesting that there's actually also a mask on the wall right over there. So it's a lot of Mars energy here as well. Very passionate. On the mask, though, right over here, I know it's a little tough to see, there is the Saturn. So Saturn is the taskmaster. Saturn is I don't give a shit kind of planet. When that thing goes into retro, everybody freaking feels it. You think Mercury retro is a bitch. Having Saturn going in reverse is an absolute nightmare, just because it is like the slave driver. It becomes a slave driver when it goes into reverse, and it is cracking that whip like crazy. So that is actually the power of Saturn. I mean, you really do not want to mess with that one in particular. Since it is in reverse, it is quite possible that downsides, you'll be taking on a lot. It's not just the projects, it's not just the paperwork. It's going to be the amount of people that you have to mediate, that you have to talk with. You're going to be absolutely busy. You could even be spinning on your head every once in a while, but for some reason, I have a feeling that you are more than ready to do that, and you are willing to just ride it like on a hell horse and just go with it. Because with the Lover's card, it is heavily influenced right over here, as well as the Guest of Honor. So it's a lot of sleuthing. It's a lot of work. And that is what the downside is right over here. You might be trapped in prison quite a bit, and you might be coming up with a lot of confrontations and conflicts. But for some reason, I feel like that you are more than ready to do that. If you can have that world, if you can have the absolute best and make the most of all your resources. So we will be looking at, what does the moon say? So show the world the real you. Full moon in Aquarius. Normally in business, this is probably what can kill a lot of people, is to show all their cards on the table. However, just because you show a lot of your cards on the table doesn't mean, it's the end. It's pretty much how you play those cards. Whether or not you can keep your resting bitch face, you can keep that confidence, or, don that air of arrogance, etc., etc. And it is the full moon in Aquarius as well. I would like to stress that we have the full moon power with the Aquarius, which is an air sign, so a lot of communication is going to be going on, and we have We have Aquarius right here, confidently pouring out her water and making it go around and making it work for her. She is usually also represented in all her nakedness. She doesn't have to cover up. She can just be who she is and she can still get shit done. And she can still hold everyone's gaze and everyone's power, not to lord over everyone, but to make them understand that she is not to be messed with. Pay attention to her. She can help you or she can just outright ignore you. That's what this is saying right over here. So showing the world the real you. I mean, like I said, it seems like you're more than ready to jump in on this. To get it going. It's just a matter of like, should you? You're very much on that cusp. We also actually have one more. And this card fell out with this one. We have you are good enough, full moon in Virgo. So you have two full moons right here in your particular reading. And I like that the full moon in Virgo, and for Virgo in particular, is here too, because this is also good grounding energy. This is a reinforcement of not so much as femininity. I mean, of course, Virgo is represented by Venus, and there's a lot of that going on. There's sensuality also at work. Stability is more so I want to pull your attentions to, and with the full moon, it just enhances that stable power, and it is also at its full circle manifestation as well. So there's not a whole lot of footing that you will be losing, uh, and that's what the moon is saying here. And you are good enough. So of course, it plays off of this right over here and all these other cards. Sometimes you do need to remind yourself that yes, you are good enough, and yes, you are literally the hot shit. And I don't say that lightly. I don't normally like to swear, except when I'm playing video games, but that's a different story. Um, but yes, you know that you are good enough, and then you also must radiate it like the full moon that yes, you are good enough. And with the Virgo and Venus in representation here, I mean, that really does come in handy when it comes to negotiations and talks and having those meetings with all these people. It takes a lot of tact, um, not so much as seduction there's or flirting. It's just saying that you're able to be moldable to various types of situation, and these two full moons are just shining on those very good qualities. Alrighty, I'm going to leave this reading right over here, and I will see you in the next videos, and I hope you take care. Thank you. Aloha Pile 4, and welcome to your reading. Hello, you have chosen the green Aventurine sphere. We're going to put this right over here and stay, because having these things roll around is an absolute nightmare. And I'm so glad that I have this cloth, because yikes, it has been a time since I brought them out. Okay, so what we're going to be looking at first is you and your current state. I have taken the liberty of pre-pulling your cards. So we're going to put, oh, I totally forgot. You actually have two cards right over here. So I'm guessing for you in particular, you are asking a decision for you and a partner. We'll see what the card says though. We have creativity. Oops, sorry about that glare. We have creativity, and it is a wonderfully beautiful and just amazing card that I actually like to stare at every once in a while. So we'll just put that right over here. We'll have a look, see if this is like a partner. I'm guessing it is. Ooh. Okay. We have inner conflict. Definitely could or could not be a potential partner. But I'm looking at this as the creativity is looking at this inner conflict. So it seems like this is definitely another person involved in this decision making, or she is making a decision about this particular person who is either causing a lot of conflict or who is wrapped up in a lot of conflict. There's a lot of vines here. There's a lot of choking, withdrawn in oneself, maybe silence, and just, or completely bogged down and just inundated with a lot of burdens or responsibilities. We have creativity here, who is a lot more free, who is beautiful, sensual, um, very in touch with themselves as well as their emotions, and they exude also this beauty as well. Like when this particular person, and I'm more than guessing that it is actually you, when you walk down the street, people just stop and stare, and most of the time it's not creepy. I do want to say, of course, it's life, it's reality. There's always going to be creeps out there, but there's this absolute wonderful light that seems to highlight you everywhere you go, and it makes people stop and look. It's like they're looking at a painting, a very beautiful, well constructed masterpiece. But since she is looking over here, this person means a lot to you, which is why this shows up in this reading. So we're gonna get a clarifying card actually. So we have a four of crystals, and this is actually a very positive card that I'm glad it came up. So four of crystals is actually the four of pentacles in the traditional tarot. Fours usually can mean lost or or stagnant. For this one in particular, we have a man who is meditating under pressure, and he is in the middle of these four crystals. He is holding his own. He doesn't seem to be bothered, and he's just in a state where there's calmness, there's serenity being felt or being brought up. And since it is crystals or the earth, crystals or pentacles, there's a lot of earth, stable energy. Even though this energy is not going anywhere, this will help to settle down this inner conflict right over here, whoever is being represented here. And this four of crystals comes with this person of creativity who is, I'm definitely feeling more down to earth, more earthly, and not an angel per se or an earth angel, but you in particular help bring peace and maybe help to unwind this person. So, what is driving this decision? We have attachment. Kind of a throwback to this card right over here. So, this is definitely saying that this person is looking at, you are looking at this other person, and there's also some ribbons over here. So what's driving this decision is that, there's a heavy amount of attachment here. It can become unhealthy, or it's on its way to becoming unhealthy. I'm guessing it's more of the latter. We have a woman who is chained to this pillar, and she is staring at this mask. I believe the story goes for this particular card is that she is staring at this mask, or this man-made false beauty or deception, or maybe even a lie or comfort zone, so to speak. And she is willingly chained to this wall and this pillar, and is in this particular room with cobwebs. So she's been in here for a while. And with attachment here, attachments are fine until it becomes an absolute hot mess, or not even a hot mess, just an absolute mess. And that's what this card is saying right over here, and that is definitely heavily driving this decision that you are thinking about. So, should you do it? Is the question. We have the Duke of Shadows. Now, this is not an evil card by all means. So the Duke of Shadows is saying that there's a lot of deception going on. There are a lot of these dark, milky balloons that probably represent a lot of unsavory things being whispered. You as the creativity card again, there's a lot of light and it does make a lot of people jealous. So not only do you draw people's attention, it also draws unwanted and negative attention. So we have him standing amongst all these balloons, all this unknown, but he is confidently standing there and he is very much in control. So the Duke of Shadows is actually saying, you know, stand in your power, believe in yourself, and the shadows might become you, but they will not overtake you. He is saying to, seek out that truth, to be in the truth, and to hold on to that truth no matter how dark it gets. And that is, and with the attachment card right over here, that can also speak to a lot of the muck that you might be clinging around him. But as you can see, he is actually wearing a finery that comes with a lot of these that looks very similar to these balloons. So he is actually also possibly wearing a lot of the deception, a lot of the whispers, and instead of, again, being overtaken by it and consumed, he is actually just wearing it almost like a badge of honor. But in order to do that, you must not become unhealthily attached. You must unwind a lot of this inner conflict. So what is the downside? So we have two cards, actually. So the first one is Two of Skulls in reverse. Let me just put it right side up. So we have the Two of Skulls right over here. Two of Skulls is Two of Pentacles in the Vampires, the Tarot of the Vampires. So we have a duality represented right over here. We have a woman who is looking at herself in the mirror, and who is a vampire version of herself. We also have Capricorn energy right over here. We also have a locked box covered in flowers and with a key. So the Two of Skulls usually means, some sort of balance, or that next step after that first skull or that first pentacle, that very first coin. So you're starting along this journey, it is new energy. In its reverse form, however, there is definitely conflict between the two coins, or at least, the two physical beings. As you can see right over here, they are still gazing at each other and seeing almost their opposites but similarities. However, it is definitely in the state of more listlessness and uncertainty. It seems like that there's not a whole lot of conversation going on, or at least coming to the heart of this situation. So there is definitely a potential running. Someone might possibly just put on that mask and just either shut down or just isolate themselves. We also have the Six of Skulls in reverse. Now this is actually also a very beautiful card. Let me just put it right side up for you. So we have a woman, and she is covered in a veil. And we also have a beautiful wolf also depicted, and she has just drunk either blood of her victim, or she has fed on something for the night she has had her kill. We also have Taurus energy right over here on the skull, on this medallion. And she is drawing attention to this medallion. And there's also a moon right back there with a little bit of finery. So Six of Skulls, again, is the Six of Pentacles. A lot of earth energy, and it's right after that sense of loss. So this is a build up further on down in the journey, but because we're looking at in the reverse as the downside, there might be a hit on finances, possible, and or vacating the home or the apartment, as we can see right over here, right after the conflict. So there will be a dissonance in the stability in at least the home or the workplace. Like if you two are partners, maybe there is definitely going to be instability as the part of the downside. This is definitely more of, since it is further on down the pentacle line, there's quite a bit more weight to this vacating. There's going to be more of a sense of loss with this one. That it might interrupt either business endeavors or, just materialistic. But we'll see what the moon says. We have a new start is coming, a new moon. So right over here. So I actually like to look forward to the new moon rather than the full moon, because man, full moons, they, as a Cancer, it just throws me for an absolute loop. It's like I have to take the day off even sometimes, depending what sign it is in. It is just way too much. It's a lot of chaotic energy. Everybody is, kind of up in arms on a higher frequency, and there's just a lot of chances for fights to break out. But the new moon right over here, yes, it's a little dark outside, but it is wonderful energy to begin and start manifesting, to start projects, to plant new things. And it's just a very calming and breathable energy. There's just a lot of hope that comes with the new moon, and especially with this card. So if this is actually very favorable if you do make this decision. There is definitely going to be a new chapter. Of course, there is going to be this downside. I mean, it comes with every relationship, and when there is a major decision, there's always going to be a lot of downsides, maybe some butt hurt even. But you'll tend to grow, and with this card right over here represented, for your particular reading, it is there's hope. There's a lot of chances. There's very fertile grounds that has been laid out for the groundwork, because waning moons is all about cleansing, about just letting go and releasing. With the new moon, it is time to start over. It is time to till that soil. So that is just what is being represented right over here, which is actually quite ironic, considering that you chose the green Aventurine, because green Aventurine is also about prosperity. And since it is a very nice green natural color, it is actually also a very soothing stone. But the green Aventurine represents possibilities, calmness, fertilization, and definitely prosperity, just all around. Usually more on the money side, just because of its green color. But Aventurine can be, at its basic, just fertile energy. Alrighty, I'm going to leave this reading right over here, and I will see you in your next reading. Take care. Aloha Pile 5, and welcome to your reading. You have chosen this turquoise sphere, and whew, I'm glad I'm handling this stone. Normally, I actually don't like turquoise, and I don't normally work well with them, but man, did I just need that little bit of calming energy. Because this has been this has been a day. Anyway, we're going to be looking at decisions. You and your current state will be the first card up. I took the opportunity earlier to pre-pull your cards just to, one, save me time. Two, I don't look like a freaking idiot just my hands and just dropping everything and just messing everything up. And it also makes these readings a lot longer. So in order for, me to make this quick, like I said I would, it just has to be like that. So we have spontaneous and intuition creation. I was going to read that backwards. Thank you so much, mind. So we have a man or a master, he is directing not only one dragon but two dragons. So there's a lot of abilities being manifested over here, or being created. So he has a lot of skill and he knows how to use it, and he is formulating them in different shapes. But take note that there are quite a bit of details. There's a lot of tenacity and ferocity being represented right over here. Not saying that you're being a bitch. It's just speaking to the power and the absolute unstoppableness that is your abilities, your state, your even your own being. But like I said, this is representing you in your current state at the moment. So whichever decision that you are thinking about right now, this is, you know, I think you know the answer already, and you're not going to be stopped, whether you're for or against. But you're here in reference, I'm supposing, just to get a better perspective or maybe some reassurance. And since it is spontaneous, you want a little bit more firmness, more evidence, I want to say, to further solidify this spontaneous to be more than just that, more than spontaneity, to be just to be more. And you're also creating it intuitively. So you want to have that very firm base created for it, even though you actually have quite a bit of abilities already and a lot of skills that you have honed over time to actually just do that just quite naturally. So we're going to be looking at a clarify card, which is the Sage of Flames. Now, the Sage of Flames is the Knight of Wands in the traditional tarot. So the Sage, we have here a woman who is almost the epitome of femininity. We have many arms. We have flames here. We also have like a DNA swivel right over here. It is representing all the chakras, and we also have a very huge burst right over here, the top of the head, from the crown, but more so the top of the head. So it is definitely in intuition. It is heavily, heavily guided, and then we have two hands that is cradling that fire, that light, that brilliance. And we also have an alchemic circle right here in the back. And we also have two fires represented here, one on the left, one on the right, that is symbolizing balance. And then we also have two hands over here that is in the meditative state. So there's a lot of balance going on. The knight is much more mature than the page. It is beyond the burden of the 10. They know how to work for themselves. There's a lot of wisdom that comes with it. They are on that horse, and it comes with speed, because the flames or the staff or the staves is also a lot about travel. It's also a lot about teaching. It's about gathering in that information and better honing, and also a lot of passion. I also really like this, that the Syrian Starseed tarot deck has the staves represented as the flames, and to me, it fits well because it is both earth and fire energy. You cannot have fire without fuel, and usually fuel comes from earth energy. I mean, I'm also a science nut too. I know flames can also feed on things that doesn't have to be flammable, but for the sake of this particular reading, we'll just put that whole science thing aside at the moment, even though I just said that, fire needs fuel. So whatever I said has just been thrown out the window. Anyway, so like I said, there's a lot of skills that has been honed over time. There's been a lot of journey, which is why there's quite a bit of detail, even though he is just testing out his powers and he is trying to create them into various shapes. There's a lot of assuredness, certainty, and it comes also from the Sage of Flames, which is the Knight. Not yet done with their journey. They are setting off to learn what else is out there in the world. Hence, this has been pulled up. So, what is driving your decision? We have Angel of Love. Okay. So the reason that you're making this decision might be for love. However, love can come in many forms. Love is more of an ambiguous term, at least for me, because we have love in friendship, we have love for parents, for family. We also have love for pets as well as our passions. So, what it is that we are passionate about. I mean, I know this card is more so on the feminine side, where we have the angel who is contemplative and gazing at this heart with a lot of red and pinks. There's a sense of wonderment as well, since this heart is also radiating a lot of light. So this definitely could also be for love. I mean, let's just face it, romance really is the catalyst for a lot of the great works out there, for all the artists to, do what it is that they have to do, or even for scientists for that matter. Um, Love is just a very powerful thing. We'll just leave it at that. So, um, should you do this? I'm sorry, I just had a brain fart. So we're going to be looking at, should you do this? We have the juggler. So the juggler here is that he is holding three balls. And we normally, when you obviously when you think of jugglers, you're thinking of them just the usual juggling three balls, and not a whole lot of people take notice of that anymore, because it's apparently a skill that I fail to have. I don't know how to do that. So I've actually find it quite amazing. So we have a juggler here who is very sure in himself. Despite what he wears, despite his headdress, he can confidently juggle three things. So that also speaks to this right over here, with the intuition, the spontaneity, and also the refinery and the passion that drives them, that drives you, excuse me. Uh, should you do this, you will be balancing a lot. You will be juggling a lot. You will, whether it's work life, family life, and relationships and friendships, and all that. But you also need to focus on yourself and have the confidence in yourself, as this juggler is seen right here with his face. He is not at all smug. He is staring kind of off to the side, but also a little bit over his precious balls. I'm so immature. I wanted to giggle so hard. He is considering the possibilities, and there's a lot of simultaneous logic that goes on, like in the multiple ways that he should juggle it. Like, what happens if it's too high? What happens if it's too low? And it takes a lot of practice in order to juggle three. A lot of people may not be impressed anymore, but for me it is, because they are gauging almost on instinct how high it needs to be, what angle to throw it, and then the amount of spacing in between, in order for the two hands to, one, catch the ball, and two, to launch the ball, and then also to exchange the balls in between their hands, while also, maintaining that momentum with these balls. So should you make this decision, that's what you're going to be doing. You'll be learning a lot, but you will also be juggling a lot. And there will be times that you drop the balls. Yeah, drop your balls. I'm so immature. But that is what it is. Now, to look at the downside, should you choose this decision, we have the eight. It's a little blurry. We have the Eight of Skulls in reverse. Let me just turn this around. So we have the Eight of Skulls. Eight of Skulls usually means you're taking stock, and observing. In the traditional tarot, it's skulls is the pentacles. Excuse me. We have, usually it's represented as someone gazing upon the tree. Uh, Everything is coming into fruition. It is not the waiting and the unripened Seven of Pentacles. It is pretty much time for that harvest. So we have a male vampire here who is withdrawn in themselves, honing it and refining what it is that they have and making it manifest. So we have a time keeper right over here, as well as a grimoire book right over here to keep them on track with all their formulas and whatnot, and they're making their powers happen and also take shape. We also have a blood over here, so there also is passion as well as emotion represented in that cup. We have the skull right over here. I know it's going to be a little bit tough to see, but there is definitely Scorpio energy represented heavily in here. There's a lot of intensity that comes with this card. Scorpio is also represented by the planet of Pluto, and yes, I particularly consider Pluto as still part of our solar system and a planet, and Pluto is not something that should be messed with at all. So it offers a lot of life and death, and just that raw power of creation and destruction. Um, since we're looking at it in the reverse, there will be a hit when it comes to the stability of the home life, of even the ground beneath your feet, because you're taking a chance. You might not have the support that you have from the people around you. That is definitely what is being represented right over here. You might be doing this decision all on your own. Like, if your parents don't approve, or your siblings don't approve, or maybe work just doesn't agree with you, and you might just end up quitting and just going off solo. That is definitely what is being represented right over here. You will have very little, if at all, support from other people, and maybe even finances too. And surprisingly, I am missing a card. It is quite funny. We'll just pull you another card, because we were supposed to be looking at what does the moon say, but I'm just gonna pull a card for you, because I guess I just forgot. So let's see. What does the moon say for you? Okay, we have your hard work is paying off. New moon in Capricorn. I am very glad to see this particular card for you. So we have the power of the Capricorn, much more mature energy. Yes, they may be stubborn, but they are not headstrong. They are very firm in their beliefs, but they will not compromise if it does not serve their purposes. There is no weakness here. There's a lot of, you make your own stability. That is what this is. You are your own stability. Because usually a lot of Capricorn people, they just do it on their own. They'll be like, what the hell are we hesitating for? Why are we just sitting around? Let's just do it. I mean, we have all the evidence, we have all the answers. Why are we just still sitting here? That's what this is being said right over here. And it being the new moon in Capricorn, there is definitely a lot of energy for hope, for manifesting. It is not time for releasing and cleansing as it is with the waning moon. It is time to build it back up and harvest at the full moon. So this is definitely a very good card and a lot of solo work, but it will pay off. It will pay off. Alrighty, I'm going to leave this card here, and we're going to get you one last look at this turquoise. I mean, a very soft stone, turquoise is. We cannot handle them too much, because they are, again, they're quite soft. They're like the hardness of fingernails. Um, but it is very desirable. It is definitely a lot of earth and energy, a lot of calming energy, which is what you'll definitely need once you start doing that solo work. Anyway, I hope you have a good rest of your day. If you like this video, feel free to like it, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to go through that, and I will see you in your next reading. Take care. Okay, pile 6. Hello, hello. Welcome to your reading. That was a little bit too enthusiastic. Please excuse me. You have selected the very sparkly, very alluring gold stone. A little bit more on the brown side, but it's still very pretty. Okay, so I've took the opportunity to pre-pull your cards before I did this massive amount of reading, and I'm so glad I am not doing 12 of these because I am extremely tired and I need to eat. Anyway, enough about me, enough about my whining. We're going to be looking at you and your current state. So ooh, we have bondage. This is great. This is great. I mean, if the first reading wasn't throwing me for a loop, this is definitely throwing me in the other opposite direction like a hurricane or a tornado. Yes, I know what a tornado is. No, I have not experienced a tornado. I'm just also a scientific nut, and I particularly like meteorology. Anyway, we definitely have bondage right over here. This is definitely a very hard decision that you even feel like you're frozen and feeling like you are actually unable to, one, have your own voice, and two, to move anywhere. Like, there's a lot of obligations, there are a lot of chains that hold you to this dead tree that actually should have just been chopped down or pushed off the cliff. And there's also a massive amount of storms here in the back. As you can see, this man, he is naked, so it is a lot of vulnerability that is being spoken here in this card right here and now. Whew. I don't know if it's obligation. I feel like it is. It might have something to do with family, for that matter. It's like maybe somebody is not letting you have a voice or have a say in the matter because maybe they're flexing that parent card. Or maybe if you do have children, maybe it's you flexing yourself with the parent card. It's like, I can't do this because I'm their father or I'm their mother. So there's definitely a lot of things that is beyond your external control that you can't seem to break free of at this time. So for a clarified card, we have the Hanging Man. And it's in the upright position, thank God. So it is actually the polar opposite of this bondage right here, almost the polar opposite, because this is just, it is kind of the same, but the difference is that this is a possibility to break free, because in the traditional tarot, the Hanging Man can always free himself from his bonds. But he just chooses not to because he just wants to view the world at a different perspective. We have the Hanging Man in a meditative state, and he is looking within himself and searching the answers for himself. And we also have a pendulum being represented right over here as a crystalline structure. It definitely looks more like a smoky quartz, but I'm not going to get into that too terribly much. So we definitely have the power of the Hanging Man who is eating you at this time. So thank God, not all hope is lost and the end is nigh, so to speak. It is just, yes, you may be tied up right now, but you are also within your mind looking and seeing what you can possibly do, what else is there, and not so much as how can you free yourself. It's just taking that moment to contemplate your decision. So what is driving this decision? We have the 7th chakra Archangel Uriel. We definitely have a lot of guidance being represented right over here. I'm hearing faith, maybe possibly religion. That is slightly a bit of a stretch, though. This is definitely a card that represents the the divine, the god beyond the guides. Now, just because some people say that the guides and the divine might be on the same level, they're really not, in my particular opinion. We have here, well, angels are not actually supposed to have any gender. So anyway, this angel is holding this book of knowledge. This angel also has wings being spread. This angel is looking off into that distance, into the beyond and beyond the beyond, and contemplating. We also have radiance right over here, as well as a crown radiating that seventh chakra. So it's something is that's driving this decision is something that you just not so much instinctively know, that is just filtered through you. It almost might come as a surprise as well. It's like, wow, where the heck did this come from? And it's also like, it's like when you get that message, like, do you have any idea what exactly it is that I'm in right now, the situation, or the people around me? Do you know the type of people that I have, or the types of bonds and obligations? And yet you have this right over here, the universe is saying, like, yeah. Which is great, and you're just like, are you joking? Are you absolutely joking? And the problem is, it is, I'm not saying life is trying to throw you for a loop. Man, sometimes when it is its most teachable moment, it is its most wonderful, it is the absolute most inconvenient of all. And it just sucks. It just has a massive amount of ridiculous timing. And it's like, you just know, don't you? You just know, and you might even delight in this. Anyway, slightly going off tangent. So, should you make this decision? I mean, obviously, that's why you're here, right? That is why you are here. And we have Joker is wild. If you play card games, usually Jokers are always wild. We kind of tend to leave that out now because it's sort of unfair. But Joker is wild. This is asking you, should you make this decision, that you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared to not make jokes. You have Joker conforms. Joker is almost unpredictable, but the Joker will always come out on top in order to give the best hand. So you're going to have to be doing a lot of shuffling should you make this decision. But it will actually be for the benefit. It's going to be tough, not going to lie. The Joker is the Joker for a reason, or the jester in the court. He can make a complete fool out of himself, but he is the only one in the room that the king or the queen will listen to, because there are no lies. There is no mask, unlike their chancellors, counselors, and all that. Everybody has a motive, an ulterior motive, but they look at the fool to always speak the truth. He is not bound by anything. So that's what this card is here. We also actually have one more. Should you make this decision, you will also have Lady Luck on your side. I'm not actually going to explain this card too much because it is actually pretty self-explanatory, and I think it's also another version of Joker is wild, because when the Joker appears in your hand, you're like, oh, now I got it. Now I have the upper hand, and I will always keep the upper hand. And the Joker will always be the truth at the end, the upper hand. And with Lady Luck right over here, she is definitely fortuitous further on in your decision. And good or bad, you will always have the winning hand. If you've played a lot of card games, there's always going to be some butt hurt people and sometimes we have no choice but to play with these people. One, it might be funny. Two, it's inclusive, and man, you don't realize how much people rage or how people will spout absolute nonsense until they get into card games. But for this one in particular, should you make this decision, there might be a lot of hurt. There might be a lot of toes being stepped on, fingers, whatever. But the fact is that you will have the upper hand in the end. So we're going to be looking at what is the downside. I think there's a theme going on right over here when it comes to cards. So we have Fortune, or the Wheel of Fortune. It is definitely in the reverse though. So, it's the wheel. What goes up must come down. Everything goes round and round. And it's also kind of like the infinity, but this is more on infinities in its most simplest terms. It goes up, it goes down, it just keeps going through its cycles. That's why it's called the wheel. That's just the circle. So the Wheel of Fortune, let me give it to this upright position. So the Wheel of Fortune can also represent things just coming and going, with karma, with life in general, and things that might even seem meant to happen, because it just goes up and down, round and round. We have woman driving it, another lizard demon, and we also have I want to say a griffin. We also have Jupiter right over here, because Jupiter is heavily also represented in the Wheel of Fortune. Because fortune can be good and fortune can be bad. Fortune is actually a very neutral word. It just depends, how you look at it. Just because you've received a bad present, it is also fortune because you make the person who gave it to you happy. It's just a matter of putting things into different perspectives. And whether or not we are grateful. It is also a highly teaching moment. It is very prosperous, or it can be very lacking. And it just keeps going through that various cycles. But since it is in the reverse position, that is the downside. Like I said, it might hurt quite a bit of people, and it might be kind of ugly even if you win. So it's fortune will smile upon the brave, but that doesn't mean that everybody else is happy. That is just saying that right over here in the fortune in reverse. So keep that in mind, that it is also a major arcana. So I could tell that this is not the easiest decision to make. And this is just definitely a reinforcement of that word of caution as to why you are also in this bondage situation. So we're going to be looking at what does the moon say right now. And it is saying, take time to breathe out, disseminating moon. So it's just, there's nothing that you can do right now is basically what this is saying, because you are stuck in that bondage right now, in that prison. So take time to breathe out, which is also a reinforcement of this Hanging Man card, as well as this right over here. It's like, as much as the universe may seem like it's rushing, the universe has all the time in quote unquote the universe, not the world, in its hands for you to make your decision. But do take that time to just be able to be still and just to take care of yourself, because it's going to get rough. It's going to get rough once you do make that decision, or once you actually decide to put your foot down and open your mouth. So take this moment to just be. Alrighty, so that is your reading, pile 6. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to comment, do that, dislike, whichever ones. I'm not going to go through that whole spiel like a lot of other people. And then we'll give you one last shot of your very sparkle goldstone, which is highly, highly interesting that, it did show up, that you chose this one, considering the fact that we have the Wheel of Fortune and we have a lot of card themes over here, and still will work because a goldstone is also another great representation for prosperity, or, all things that sparkle and gold in any endeavor, particularly when it comes to materialists. Alrighty, here's your reading, and I will see you later. Take care.